Episode 40 of Karandrin Role Playing. My name is Kevin Manus Pinnings, also known as Cracked Palantir, and I will be your host and game master for tonight for our 40th episode. Hence the hats, our celebratory hats. And as always, to play our buddy Brise is my buddy Max. Say hello, Max.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, my hat.
I'm really can struggle with my words tonight. We're returning with the hats from episode 30, if you remember. So
That's right.
special occasion here.
We celebrate every 10 episodes that we still have the willpower to do this.
And we may have some special stuff going on in this episode. We'll see. Maybe not. Maybe, but I think it'll be a good one. You might want to stay tuned.
It's gonna happen. And I'm gonna be the first to admit that this is a huge oversight as a game master, but oh well, we're gonna fix it now. And I already feel dumb, but it's all right. It's a technical thing. So
Speaking of fixing technical things, do you want to mention just about?
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, we are having internet problems, and we decided just to push on. And so if we lag and freeze and so on, I'm sure you'll shout at us and all of that. And they seem to resolve themselves. And so we're just going to do what we can and push through. So please bear with us on episode 40. We were just too excited to skip it, and we wanted to play. So I'm hoping this will go fine. So we did roll up Brise's meeting with her the gentleman that she's courting. We sort of rolled through that evening, and we did that off screen, and it went well. He is, less welcoming of the goblins than is Brise. Brise grew up around them and enjoyed their humor. Doesn't really fear them and so on. Whereas Aldrich is a little more skeptical of them. But Max, tell us the other things that happened prior to that dinner last stream.
Yeah, well, we started off the stream fleeing from our undead ogre friend.
Troll.
Troll. That's right. I always mix them all up. Undead troll friend. Yeah, that was interesting. Found out possibly being controlled by someone. By the way, it could cast magic and all that. So it definitely seemed like there's something going on, something afoot, either related to maybe one of Mirgral's neighbors or enemies or whatever, but managed to run away from that. And then I rolled really badly on a teleport, really poor casting of the spell, and ended up at like a neighboring manor, like across the town, like on another mountainside, one of their manors, and had to find my way back home from there. Found a small creek. I was searching for a what do you call them? Clearing where I could meet the eagles if I have to at any point, so the goblins don't freak out that a bunch of eagles are descending upon them.
The great eagles.
The great eagles, yeah, not just any eagles, great eagles. And I managed to locate that. And then I came back and for dinner. So not too crazy, just a lot of basically getting lost and finally finding what I was looking for and coming back home. So yeah. Now here we are after dinner and getting ready for bed, it sounds like.
Well, we've actually
gone through bed. Yeah.
Right. We went ahead and rolled him or Brise going to bed, studying, prior to, having studied her spell book, and then retired for the evening. And so here we are in the early morning. Brise wakes, does her morning ablutions, gets ready for the day, make sure that she's in tip-top appearance. And There is a note waiting for you when you wake.
All right.
It is in Burlow's script, but it says that the master would like to see you mid-morning.
Okay.
Um, and that gives you time. You can probably get a bath drawn if you would like. You've probably been
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten a chance to bathe, and especially because I want to kind of make a better impression on Adabir, kind of apologize for some of this, making
right.
him very upset. I think I will probably clean up and make
Right.
it extra pretty.
So, and remind us how it is that you upset him.
I called him an old man. No, so this whole research campaign is for me interested in freeing the demon Kralum and him helping me, but really trying to borrow his power as a as a enticing goal, to help me out. Is like if he can borrow some of Kralum's power and use him to study his research, further his research, then then we'll be all good. But it turns out the Eagles are trying to free himself, kind of instigated by me in a way. They ended up. I
Ripping
can't remember
off.
exactly what I told them. I think I just told them that they did have some success in freeing him, and they were attempting and having some success with that. I didn't tell him that Crown was injured necessarily in the process, but just that alone made him explode with anger. That did not go well.
And Adabir revealed in that outburst that one of his big goals for all of this is, of course, to, in the process of drawing power from this great demon trapped in a volcano, is to make himself younger. He's quite old, quite frail. Um, and and so he had been very unclear that that was a big goal of his, and not that it exactly affects things, but it does suggest a hidden agenda, and he's not been completely forthcoming. Order a bath drawn, quick bite, and then up the stairs you go to see Adabir.
Yeah, I'll be in just my town clothes.
Okay. Dressed to the nines, to the extent that you can be, to try to just really put your best foot forward and try to make amends with Adabir.
Mm-hmm.
So, Burlow catches you on the way up because you're on the second floor. Adabir's on the third. And Burlow, our butler and manservant to Adabir, stops you, with a touch on the elbow and says, he's been thinking a great deal about this meeting. I fear that he's come to a great decision.
Okay.
I know that you had heated words with him, but I beg you to be kind to him.
Okay.
Up you go. The door is, of course, locked. You knock. The door opens, probably literally magically, because he is still seated. He stands to greet you. Definitely looking stronger. You're hoping that's the menstruations of the doctor.
Right.
And you seem, you thought you were frozen. You're good.
Yeah.
And so
I'll definitely give him a polite greeting.
And he's clearly something is on his mind that's very weighty. But roll for me.
Roll for you. Where am I?
That's right. Your hat will come off.
Boom! That's a 10. Oh man, I thought I'd get like a more special. I thought I'd roll a 40 for.
He does seem to still be harboring considerable anger,
Okay.
but he's really taken upon himself to keep it under control. So Quinn is arguing to attack Adabir and just
And
be
that's like my one ticket out of this whole mess. He's like the most important guy.
You forget you have another one.
I don't want that one. I don't want to.
Okay. I didn't ask how many you wanted. I was saying anyway.
This is true though. Yeah.
So he gestures for you to sit across from him. The fire's going. It's always a little warmer in here to keep him heated to his frail bones. He said, I know that I spoke quite hotly to you. I let my temper get the better of me, but I want to put that aside. Your actions were well meant, and I know them to be well meant. And unfortunately, though, you may have accelerated things such that we have to go down paths that I initially thought too risky.
Okay.
Do you recall describing to me Kralum and his physical appearance and being chained over the volcano?
I do. It was when we first brought up the topic, I believe.
So I put it to you, how could you possibly know that? How did that information come to you? And if you
That's
don't,
a great question, Kevin.
If you don't recall, it was in a vision. Passed to you through the connection you have through Kralum. The Trinidas, even not the Trinidas, I can't remember if the flower children.
Children, yeah.
But that's your answer.
Yeah, and I've already told Adabir about my connection with Kralum.
Yes.
So that, yeah, I just freely say that it's like, well, yes, it was through our connection.
Have you ever considered whether the fact that you saw his prison means that you might be able to teleport to it right now?
Huh. Maybe. No. Brise might have like thought about it, but like that just seems way too dangerous. Of course there would be like safeguards against that, right? Or any type that seems so risky.
Well, and here is, of course, my huge failure as a game master. This idea should have occurred to Brise weeks ago.
Yeah.
To at least consider, bring up, and debate. We didn't do any of that. Adabir would have thought about it in minutes, okay, maybe a day. And I should have had him bring it up, and I didn't. I just totally didn't process this as, oh my God, is it possible this vision counts as having seen enough? You know, just like you can teleport within sight of something, you can, if you can see it and it's relatively stable, you can teleport to it.
So it's really, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I remember you telling me before the stream is like, you might have thought about it too. I never thought about that, but what I thought about is that, well, I've seen like the volcanoes, like could I identify it based off of that? Like I know I've seen it, and I was thinking about identifying the location, but I didn't think about teleport.
Well, and my argument there to you is what you were looking at is interior. The only
Right.
way you could spot it again would be from the air,
Right.
or so it's not
Right.
the lower part of the mountain that you would see, or even the top of the cone,
Right.
because it has to be the top of the external part of the cone.
Yeah. To kind of give an identification. But all I need, I have a location. I just don't know where it is in my memory.
Right. So Adabir says if Verilag is concerned that her security is being breached there, we may have to accelerate our plan and take greater risks.
Right.
So I have a proposal that I grant is very dangerous.
Okay.
And that is if my apprentices and I can put enormous protections on you. We could risk you teleporting to the volcano. Now, if you have a connection to Verilag, whatever defenses and wards she has against intrusion would not count against her, and your connection may make the defenses mistake you for her.
Wow. That's an interesting idea.
There are instances of this working in lore, but we must admit that she is a power unlike anything we have read about, except for the gods. If the defenses do go off, our hope is that the protections we give you will be sufficient to give you time to get out of there. And if you don't need the defenses, then you will have found an open door to finding Kralum instantly. Now, if that works, you would have to teleport us there every time we need to go there.
Right.
Because it will read the spell and it will read the essence of the spell before the defenses decide to act.
Okay.
Meaning, even if you get one of us there, we can't then teleport ourselves back and forth.
Right. It needs to be me.
But the degree to which that accelerates our learning and this accelerates the entire agenda is enormous.
Write all this down. This is me.
So just to touch on a couple of mechanical details while Max catches up on his notes. As we said, teleport, at least in this game, the spell teleport requires you having seen the location and can remember it clearly, which is yet to be determined. It also depends. Another safe way to teleport is something you can see line of sight. If you can see the location, then it's clear enough in your mind that you can get there through the spell. So, the question will be whether Brise can remember it clearly enough, and then upon arrival, will the defenses lash out? The magical defenses lash out at her because it reads her as not Verilag, but instead reads her as a stranger, an intruder.
Magical presence. Okay.
Adabir says This is not the, while this is enormously good news if true, another tiny possibility will also present itself. If the defenses read you as Verilag, you could cancel them.
Oh my gosh. What?
Now, we might not wish to do so. She will know when her spell has been canceled.
Mhm.
Any magic user will know if their spell has been canceled by another force. You must also be prepared to leave if we execute this plan. Even if successful, it is possible that she will be alerted to another presence there. And it's certainly a good idea to leave if it doesn't work.
Right.
You could arrive there and be set by fire. You can arrive there and have lightning leap from all angles.
Yeah. Very, very dangerous.
Again, though, we will all be protecting you with our most powerful magics. I doubt it will be enough to prevent you from being hurt. I can't hope that. But it could get you back here alive. And then we can revisit from there.
Okay, I have probably my biggest concern with this is
Lightning up the ass?
well, yes. I mean, assuming I trust them that I could like possibly survive if I try to teleport there and make it. Actually, I guess I don't because I'm not really a trustworthy person. But let's say I do. I do, and then like Verilag does somehow find out that I'm there. That is, feel like that's game over for everyone here. And I kind of want to, I guess I phrase that to him is that, I mean, Verilag already knows where I am in this keep. She has ways of finding people. I feel like there may only be one visit. I don't think we should bet on being able to come and go freely. If we have a idea to go there, then we should, be ready to do what we need to do.
Well, of course. The plan would be after your successful arrival, we would then plan a visit in which we would cast magic to unlock the secrets of the manacles and the secrets of the defenses.
Right.
My assumption is that we will have to travel at least halfway up the mountain for the arts that we create here to have enough reach to further drain Kralum's power for our benefit. Roll for me.
68.
He says, and I want to address the look on your face. I do mean our benefit. Yes, I want my youth back. I want my breath back. I want these pains gone so that whatever new power that I get for the benefit of all civilizations, I have time to use. But that power shall also be yours.
Good. Does he seem like he's telling the truth?
Roll for me.
74.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess, yeah, I mean, I don't want to make him upset again, but I do need to address the point is that, how am I trying to phrase this? Is that Verilag is evil, and the surefire way of overcoming her is freeing Kralum. So how confident is he that we would be able to use to overpower her with this plan, to keep him shackled and draw power from him to like combat her, right?
I am hoping to do a smaller amount of power from him once that will give us permanent benefit. And then we can, depending on the level of power we gain, we can either attempt to confront Verilag directly or use our new powers, our new perceptions even, to free Kralum from the manacles.
Okay.
Hence casting spells of lore on the manacles also.
Right. Interesting. A lot to take in.
Yeah, I told you this was going to be a big one, and
Yeah.
Had I thought about your vision being clear enough to use as a teleport, had I thought of that as I should have as the game master, then at least you would have dwelt on that possibility for all these months of play,
Right.
and then things would have built piecemeal. But I had that realization. Yeah, I mean, I talked about it after the stream.
Yeah.
And I was just, it's one of the larger game mastering mistakes I've ever made.
Yeah.
And the consequences of it, I mean, the risks alone are huge, but the absence of the idea is glaring.
Right. Just to not even throw it out there.
Yeah. And I feel like a dumbass.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as a general thing about like just Brise's personality, she kind of, doesn't lean towards recklessness or, safety kind of either way, I don't think. So I wouldn't discard the idea. Yeah.
Right. She likes the plan, but she doesn't like to plan forever.
That's right.
Due to her impatience, no doubt. He certainly spelled out, I would think Brise would consider that he's taken reasonable considerations.
Yeah. I mean, he is an old and talented wizard, he wouldn't suggest something that has no chance of working, or that is such a low chance that it's not worth it.
Right.
Um,
Because once you get there safely, I mean, that is such a huge step forward.
yeah.
I mean, the soldiers haven't been able to even reach. I mean, I think they finally reached the last of the mountains to search,
Right.
but then you're still waiting forever to get reports back. Who knows what ways of obscuring the path up the mountain may be in place.
Right.
And this skips all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have a place where, you go whenever you want. And when they're ready with a plan, you go, you try it out, and you get the hell out.
Right.
Now, weirdly, it also involves you not screwing up a teleport.
Right. That's true, which I'm not known for.
Yes. This is going to be the year of drum rolls. That's when
Yeah. I do have another question for him. Of that, even lesser demons, they have what was the term he used? Collect call. What-
you mean
the corruptive force that is
soul shear.
Soul shear, yeah.
Yeah.
The soul shear of even a minor demon was enough to stick at me. Do you think there are protections enough against a creature like that? I guess. I mean, Verilight captured them somehow.
It would have to be part of the enchantment of the manacles. It would have to be.
Right, which means it can be a person. It can also be done to a person, I would think. Check me.
No, what I'm saying, my young lady, is that the manacles would inherently have to dampen it.
Oh,
simply being near Kralum would probably turn you into some unearthly wraith.
yeah, fair point. His entire soul shear is probably dampened. Yeah. Interesting observations.
I forget if he said this, but he's not brought the idea up to the apprentices yet.
Oh, okay, he did not mention you.
It's moot until you agree to try. After that, he'll meet with them, and they will plan out a course of spells to put on you.
Yeah.
Fortunately, being somewhat more powerful than you, these spells should last hours, but it's not necessary for them to do so. If it works, you might simply study your surroundings to get it more firmly in your memory and return. Now, there are abilities to trace a recent teleport.
Right.
So, if that is of a concern to you, then you may need to teleport to some neutral place if you fear she will track you to us. But I'm sure.
There was a teleport. You don't know who did it, but you can trace it and then
find and follow.
Yeah.
So without having seen the spot, they can use the trace to put them, within the 2 or 3 feet of where you are.
Right.
And there is no telling what rare and wondrous spells that Kralum has provided her, both prior to his capture as well as since gaining his powers.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this could take a month off of our work,
Mm-hmm.
and we could finally get to the real matter of studying the enchantments, studying the demon, studying the shackles, and beginning a process of actual spellcraft to produce an enchantment that will drain some of Kralum's power for our benefit.
Right. I'm still the biggest variable is still just I say to Adabir is still Verilag. I mean, she's been able to pinpoint my location, many times. I mentioned that, the one time she had the associate just in the town, able to locate me. It's just such a great risk for me to be there as part of it. If that makes sense.
There's
But-
simply no way to do it without you.
Right. And it would be endangering all of you, unnecessarily, by me being the kind of the pivotal role in the operation. I have to be honest with you.
I recognize all those dangers.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this, even our attempt to drain Kralum somewhat, it's all uncharted ground.
Mm.
I've worked on much smaller creatures. I have some principles in mind, but I've never successfully done what I am suggesting, not even on a lesser demon.
Why the hell are we doing it? Wizards will be wizards, right?
But it's his life's work.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be the work that extends his life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's certainly stopping this pair of powerful beings. It's certainly in service of humanity, which he seems to be, or posterity. He's certainly big on dampening the negative influence of demons and using their power for good.
Right.
And I've thought many times about, like, if all this works out and it does grant you just enormous powers, I'm like, that's gonna be interesting for me as a game master. For
Do I just
like,
go up 10 levels or something?
No, it would be things like, oh, your skin is just takes damage like it's a knight's armor.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You have the strength of a troll, and at will you can pass through solid objects.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you're talking about really being infused with abilities, not merely elevated in experience and training.
Right.
Although it's possible too that there could be this influx of lore.
Right.
That.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I do like the idea. In me being impatient, it almost like, wow, like that just seems. I value, a quick, effective plan. It just seems so dangerous. And me as a player, I'm like, I should be honest, I'm just really scared for my character because I don't want to put them in a situation where they could.
I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable for Brise to be feeling fear.
Yeah.
It would be ironic, though not helpful to our story, if there are defenses there and they kill Brise, because that means that Verlag imprisoned herself.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Very true.
And I don't know if that would be. I don't know if that would count as a reason to do it.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, suicide has always been a possibility for you in
Yeah.
terms of ending this tremendous region-wide, let's hope not continent-wide threat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and Karandrin is a large continent.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be, I mean, I don't know if I use the word win-win. You know, I mean, as a game master, as a game master, I get attached to these characters too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and just to see one exterminated, although for a remarkable cause.
Right. Right.
Although Kralum still sits in his prison forever, until the next idiot level 1 character wanders up to the lake that.
Right. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Brise's feeling right now is that she can't like find a flaw in it, admitting the danger and just maybe just saying that I need time to think about it. Seems like
it is certainly overwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean, when I realized it as a game master, I've had a week to process it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had to talk it through with Obi-Wan because I'm so embarrassed as a game master. And
Yeah.
secondly, the consequences of this realization are just enormous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, so I would tell Adabir that, I trust your powers and your judgment and your knowledge, and it all seems sound. I think it's definitely warrants a try.
So you're on board.
It maybe definitely.
So you're saying, while all that's true,
yes.
I still need time to think.
Exactly. Yeah.
He roll for me.
83.
He smiles. It's very genuine.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I know it's a lot to ask. Can I have your permission to bring the idea up to the apprentices so that we might find a safer plan to accomplish it?
Of course. Yes.
I will meet with them today. When do you think you'll have an answer? Boy, this is going to be an interesting, like when you see Aldrich next, and you're like if you decide to go, your night with Aldrich that night, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be, look, I got this thing I got to try, and that's.
Yeah, I mean, do I even tell him? Like.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, do I just like, I'll be back?
Yeah.
And just hope for the best.
Yeah, your internet's falling off now.
What?
Up to red.
What are you talking about?
I feel bad for bringing it up.
Mine says yellow. It's fine. Yellow is the color of daisies.
And Paladin P, when confronted with a terrifying option.
Hold on, I need to change my pants.
Yeah, no kidding.
So he wants a date. I mean,
and you can tell him you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you're sure in part he just wants he wants a schedule.
Yeah,
you may not be able to give him one.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say I'll try, to give you an answer within the week. I'll just say as a guideline.
I would ask that you hasten your decision. We are working against a powerful foe that has been made more suspicious by the recent attack on her captive.
I'll do my best. Give you an answer soon then.
All right. He rises, gestures to the door.
Okay. I don't know if there's any other words I guess we need to exchange. That was kind of like so important. It kind of masked,
overshadowed
anything
else.
Yeah, okay. And I'll just take my leave.
So out you go. Yeah, make it. I don't know. Where would you think you would go after this? I don't want to.
I don't know, Kevin. Where?
I mean, right?
I mean, is this? Yeah. Remember my character. If I really want to seek, some advice on this, I might, my character sheet, keep to myself and just like ponder it, to think of any other ideas, or more rarely confide in a single person, or go to the clergy. So I don't know if I want to seek out one of those options.
Right. I mean, Aldrich is about the place.
Yeah, and I did take a lot of comfort in him last time.
I mean, and there's a part of you, I'm sure, that hates, and part of Brise, I mean, that hates to rope him in on such a monumental decision, but by the same token, so would having a kid, that would be a monument, I mean.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to think about it. It's not including him in that is almost a betrayal of trust a little bit.
Yeah, it's sort of contradicts the seriousness you feel about what you could be as a couple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would be. I would mention it to him. I would discuss it with him. Absolutely. Now, whether I go to him right now or process it myself for a while, I guess I could invite him to lunch, and then or dinner, and then bring it up then.
Right. I'm trying to consider whether I've made another huge mistake.
Probably.
I know. I don't want to think about it, but I don't want to think about it. I think I have a way out of explaining it if it turns out to be a mistake. And that's fine. I'll just do that.
Oh my gosh.
Would you, now this isn't a mistake. There is a person who has a great deal of knowledge about these sorts of things that you could run the idea by. And he's a rat.
Yeah, true. I didn't even think about that. Just confirming with him if that's even possible. It's actually a brilliant idea.
The thing is, not tipping Adabir's hand, broadly your hand, about trying to drain him before they send him off, or draining him to the point that he cannot withstand the heat of the volcano any longer.
Yeah. Agreed. The plan would just be to mention to him if it's what his opinion of how viable it seems that that whole plan can go, at least reaching him.
Roll for me.
81.
Not just that, buddy. Brise, it occurs. he may have a tremendous insight into the enchantments that must be present in order to keep his powers at bay. And then the likely defenses protecting the volcano from being encroached upon.
True. Yeah.
He could be a wealth of knowledge to Adabir and the apprentices. The thing is that if they don't ask their questions, I mean, that's their problem. But if they don't ask their questions carefully, he has enough magical knowledge to suss out what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
I think the priority is definitely I want to talk to Crowlem first, because just to know if it's even possible, it's still in my head. It's like, there's, like before I even think about whether committing to it or not, to know a better chance of like, what is the feasibility of it. Right.
Right.
So I think I'll prioritize trying to get in contact with him.
And to that end, it would probably just stay in your room.
Honestly, yeah, because that's where he's been able to show up quite a bit.
I would say you could think about him with great effort to see if that triggers something in the connection, but then you don't want to trigger Verlag's notice of that.
Yeah, either.
So
now, in the meantime, then, do I want to try to schedule something with Aldruff like ahead of time, do you think, or should I just, this would be the appropriate thing to do, just
something we didn't do off screen that we probably should. You guys attempted to schedule, your dinners together.
Sure.
So you tried to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But he doesn't believe he'll be able to see you at all today unless just by happenstance.
Okay.
He's probably going to be working very late into the night.
Okay, I'd have to seek him out then.
Right. And even then, you have to limit how much you do that. It's showing up at a spouse's work. It's, it also is a place of intrigue. And you can't draw attention to him too much.
Right.
Although at some point, I guess that's inevitable, right? I mean, they're going to say, oh, this guy is dating this girl.
Right.
It's going to come out eventually, that part of it, if it's not already everywhere.
Right.
So maybe that's neither here nor there.
Okay. So then, regardless, I think I'll wait to talk to Aldruff until I'm more certain of how possible it is.
Yeah.
With Crowlem, and other sources.
And then you can hang around the quarters and hopefully hear from Adabir and the apprentices.
Right. The other thing I just thought about is there's one other person I've told about Crowlem and Verlag whom I trust in convergence. And his name eludes me, but that priest there.
Oh, yeah. I can.
Right. I'm like, what was his name?
I'll get it. Just bear with us, gang. We're
looking
almost
up characters from over a year ago. It was very important.
Clarin,
that's right. It had like a K in it. I mean, just to just to kind of unload my like emotions and my thought process about it. And
yeah.
Yeah. And I remember Clarin was specifically, he was skilled in, I mean, he's clergy, but he also knew a little bit about Portal. magic, like very little.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, he might not be the person to ask about whether this plan would work or not. He would obviously be like, no, it's
Right.
yeah, but he might just be a source of comfort, I guess. Source of
Right. He'd be a ear to.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to go through how kind of like Brise would think about it. So I think I will go in my room and try to process this, and hopefully Crown will visit me at some point during the day. At least as patient as I can wait,
Right.
I might try to read a little bit if I want to distract myself
Right.
as well.
So I'm going to kind of roll you maybe to mid-afternoon.
Sure.
And see just sort of what transpires in terms of reading and all of it. So you try to read several texts throughout the hours. You really get no progress on anything. You find yourself reading the same sentence. You even just jump around the book to hope find something that, but you are very preoccupied.
Yeah.
Crowlum does not show up throughout the intervening hours.
Okay.
A note does get slid under your door. Probably actually placed on your lunch tray. They probably just bring you lunch, or you probably request lunch in your room.
Yeah.
And they bring you a lovely assortment. And there's a note there from Burlow. And here I need to find. Speaking of finding characters. Let's see.
Oh, excuse me.
Where? Maybe I didn't roll her up. It's possible. You have 26 NPCs that are rolled up for you.
Only 26. Huh.
Well, there's been more. There's been a handful, maybe 5 that I've deleted.
Oh, yeah.
Because the likelihood of repeat contact was low.
Sure.
So,
I thought you'd keep them though, and then they'd be like permanent people in the world,
well, they would be, except for if they're not, if they don't really have a role that suggests likely contact.
Yeah, sure.
That's the sort of way I have to do it. So the note from Burlow on your tray says that that goblin servant that you complained about, took a tumble last night going down the stairs and broke her neck.
Oh my God. Wow. That's intense. Yeah, what was her name? I had it, but
I thought I had her on here, but
it was the lady who noticed I was drunk and then ended up drugging me and getting a bunch of information.
Yes. And yeah, we rolled up her name, but I missed it as well. I should have. It's probably in your notes, but she's dead now.
All right. You don't need to worry about her name.
Yeah. It's just going to be on a tombstone now, and that's the last of it. So
I'm just going to visit her tombstone just so you have to remember her name.
That's right.
Even note that.
So yeah, so very interesting junk going on. So no appearance from Crowlum.
Right.
Roll for me.
The other, I could also, once he convenes with the apprentices, I might even just go to them for any kind of, their opinion. 94.
The goblin servant, female, just one of the staff. Oh, Lord, I dropped my dice. This is the first. This is the first.
Episode 40.
Episode 40.
First for everything. There he goes.
Oh, God. Oh, God. My
Old
pointy
man
hat.
runs.
Oh, God. Okay. I know I should have extra dice on hand, but I have used these dice for literally 30 years, and I'm very attached to them. So they came with my Middle Earth role-playing
Other
set.
dice would just be no dice.
That's right. She seems very distracted, preoccupied when she brings you the tray. So, I mean, you're welcome to ask.
Yeah,
You're
I'm just
welcome
curious what's wrong. Something the matter?
Oh, big meeting downstairs. Oh, Lord Adabir and all his little assistants. Oh, a lot of orders being shouted to bring all the food at once. And then they're not to be disturbed. Mr. Burlow himself is going to stand outside the doors. You're the only one allowed to enter unbidden. I don't like it. Don't like it. I'll come back for your tray. And off she scurries.
Okay.
So by mid-afternoon, you get an hour done on your spell studying. You've not been able to talk to anybody unless you want to go down and have a hallway conversation with Burlow.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
So mid-afternoon, there's a knock at your door. It's Burlow. And he says that Adabir wants to see you. They've concluded their meeting. The consensus. So you go in there. Adabir gestures you for you to sit. He pours himself a sherry, offers you one.
Sure.
It's a very good sherry. That is some expensive stuff. So he says, we discussed a range of topics. And there are many more ideas about what other advantages we could gain from this. That said, there is concern among the apprentices that we could ever adequately protect you. Whatever defenses she set on the mountain before Kralum would have certainly been augmented after she took Kralum's power.
Right.
It would be potentially many times the power that we have over magic.
Mm.
That said, it is possible that we attempt some form of communal casting.
Mm.
But that could take weeks to learn for all of us.
Could you elaborate? Communal casting? Is that?
We would cast a spell as a group.
I'm sorry, but like you with the wizard hat, just like we would cast a spell.
We would
It's
cast,
really like really fitting.
right. We would cast anyway.
Spell.
That's right. And therefore,
continue, Adabir. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's right.
Hat is looking great.
It would have our combined powers, which
Interesting.
hopefully would approach the sheer magnitude of her own.
Yeah.
Another thought is that perhaps Doshrik alone should seek to protect you. As much of his magic and his magical knowledge comes from another world.
Yeah.
It might be sufficiently different to provide surprising degrees of protection.
Then Quinn suggested a way to defeat Kralum.
Combining powers? Are they summoning Captain Planet?
That's who we need in this situation.
That's it. It is an earthy problem.
Mm-hmm. Good.
But Tegriv came up with a very interesting idea.
I'm sure he did.
What if, as our failsafe, we set a trap for Kralum at the volcano where she would least expect it?
Set a trap for Kralum?
Sorry.
Verla.
For Verla.
Yeah, Kralum's already trapped. You can't trap somebody already trapped.
So
interesting. Yeah.
If she were to appear, there are ways of capturing a spell to allow it to be released at a later time.
Terrible.
Oh, Quinn. Oh, my Lord.
Please. So interesting. Yeah, I mean, she would be, caught unawares. I mean, yeah, they have a better idea if that would work. Than me. It's just she's incredibly powerful. I think and incredibly cunning. I think maneuvering traps is one of her best skills.
It would have to be a massively powerful assault.
Right.
But hopefully at a point where her guard is down. And maybe if we place it at an excellent point, it could throw her, I don't know, into the lava or within the clutches of Verlag himself.
Kralum himself.
Dang it. Kralum himself. Gang, I am.
Adabir's losing it.
I think so.
90-year-old man.
It has nothing to do with the fact that I haven't slept in 24 hours. It has nothing to do with that at all.
Nothing. Bring it up.
Do you want to mention Kralum?
I do. Yeah, I was going to bring that up if he was done with his stuff.
Yeah. So bring it up.
Yep. I'd say one thing we didn't consider is our communication with Kralum. I'm intending to present the plan so much as seeing if it's possible for me to teleport to him. And if that would not set off some of the wards that Verlag has in place.
Demons are immensely cunning. But you're right. I don't see that we have a choice but to tap his magical knowledge for what we may face when we get there, as well as the likelihood of you getting there.
Right.
It doesn't work. It's fine. Very well. We should arrange something whenever you next see Crowlem. I will make my mornings free to him. If you can arrange it, then set it for a morning and let me know.
Okay. I mean, he's saying he'd like to participate in.
Well, he's the only one who's going to know the questions.
Right, exactly.
To ask. And you might just scoop him up and hide him in your thing and, hide him in your shirt, right? Or in a pouch and take him up there. Right. He said, I'll be at my strongest in the mornings.
Right.
And I will need all my wits about me.
Right. Okay. Another idea I thought about just playing is that other protections, if I know the Trinidas might have some suggestion as well for any kind of protection against, maybe not against like spells, but Verlag being like kind of evil, inherently evil, and her magic has evil to it. That's a possibility to ask them about. So,
are you going to mention that to Adabir?
No, I just I thought I'd throw it out there.
Yeah.
If you have any comment on that too, because I'll write that down. It's just if I have some time to maybe try to visit them or seek them out. Although they typically just find me. So
yes,
most of these things just kind of teleport to me, like whenever I like unexpected.
It really is weird because you had, you have had a surprising number of like deep connections to things.
Yeah.
And I think more than any character I've run.
Right.
I'm
an empath.
It is weird. It's like you make these relationships and they're not just sort of social, they're sort of spiritual,
right,
or transcendental.
Right.
The only thing I can compare it to is that Josh played a character and he had this horse and stuff would just happen out of the blue and the horse would get driven off.
Right.
It happened over and over again for various reasons. And he's like, well, I just want to call out to it. I'm like, well, that's not really how horses work. He goes, I know, but I just want, maybe it'll answer with a whinny and I can just hear it and go, So he would do it and I would roll a double lot. So here it would come trotting back. And that happened
Right.
I don't know, 5 times, 6 times, as only Josh Waters can ruin a game. It was so weird.
Magic horse.
It was so he fought this thing on the slopes of a mountain, and it wasn't like a huge battle, but it was enough to spook the horse, and the horse, ran all over the slopes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I rolled for like how far it went away or whatever, and it was like a 1. Like it was like, oh, you guys seem busy.
Yeah.
I'll be over. There's some grass. I'll be right over here.
Probably here. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just so weird. It was so weird.
Oh, another thing is the potion of intangibility. How it kind of like it saved me if I was launched in the air, or any kind of like
Right.
stone, that might hit me. Might be good to drink right beforehand. Yeah. Write
Yeah,
that down as
certainly
well.
run that by the
Yeah.
not the powers that be, but those who know the powers that be. What powers do.
Yeah.
So late afternoon, they are compiling a sort of the apprentices are compiling a sort of
Oh,
the
go ahead.
the apprentices are compiling a list of sort of ideal protections for you.
Mhm.
And they're doing it based on all of them casting, and then they're looking at just doing it with Doshrik doing it.
Right.
There's also some talk about researching any sort of magical item that might grant the ability to cast communal spells.
Okay.
And that would, just be a shortcut to being able to do that and grant you an enormous level of protection that could compete with Verlag's power level.
Okay.
So, another point is, they had sort of delayed some discussions because the first thing was to find the Fire Mountain, right? On which Kralum is strapped. And so now it becomes more important to talk about what defenses are possible. And so the reasoning is that she can't have people continually disappearing on the mountain.
Yeah.
Because eventually you don't know who might come looking.
Right.
You can have it happen every now and then. If you're going to have it happen, then it has to be done in a way where the explanation is obvious. And so that suggests she probably has under her thrall or employ then some long-standing batch of ogres or trolls or giants, undead, something where the deaths are clearly an act of random encounter.
Right.
The other thought is that the mountain, especially the lower half or third, perhaps the whole lower valley surrounding it, is obscured in mist. There are various enchantments that can simply lead you in random patterns forever.
Yeah.
And so that's something else that fortunately this plan would skip over.
Right.
But sort of having this backup of let's do an enormous magical attack when we've sort of given up all other options. If we can kill Verlag in some remote surprise, right? Then Verlag, might just be re-imprisoned even if it kills her.
You know what is interesting also, I didn't even think, but if they need to use me as a hostage because I'm so valuable to Verlag and they're there with me, Verlag would have to, I don't know, take out 4 of them at once, and risk me being harmed in the process.
Right. I mean, you're sort of their human shield.
Right.
Do you want to bring that up to Adabir, or is that your own thought?
That's my own thought right now.
Okay.
I don't know if I feel comfortable bringing that up.
Sure.
This is a trust, I kind of want to bring it up, but like as a not trustworthy person, I feel like,
Well, no, you're trustworthy. You're untrusting.
as a non-trusting person.
Yeah, and especially given the recent betrayals, and not betrayal, but certainly the recent revelations and so on. So that's a meeting that goes on. You ask lots of questions and so on, and it's pretty well supper time.
Okay.
And I know we've skipped the break and so on, but I was wondering, what do you think about maybe ending it here?
Okay.
And because I don't know what else we'd accomplish, and I don't want to test this internet too much.
True.
Further. So unless you are eager to play more.
I am eager to try to communicate with Kralum, just because we're still on the topic and
sure
issues. So we could play a bit longer just to see if he shows up.
Right.
And if not, we could call it.
Yeah, you sort of just spend the day in the room. A note from Aldrich arrives around supper and says, though I dine alone in my workshop, my thoughts are with you.
Aww. So cute.
And
I text him back, love you too, baby.
That's right. Say, hey, you're a tailor, so I'm on pins and needles. And of course, when you say, so I'm on pins and needles,
I just keep making like puns. You're just like, please stop.
Exactly. So how'd you and your love interest in that game break up? Well, I'll tell you right now, it wasn't Kralum. So you send a note back, something affectionate.
Oh yeah, of course, something similarly mushy.
Sure. You ask for supper to be brought to you in the room. Something with, a slice of cheese would be nice.
Yeah.
And but Kralum does not show up all evening.
Okay.
Any conversations that need to be had?
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I thought about something. So I had a note here that only Adabir and I are really the only ones who should be sharing the details of the mission, possibly the apprentices. I guess, did he have to mention Verilag to the apprentices? I would have brought that up when he said, I'm going to share the plan with them. I mean, there's no really other choice, right? You can't like disguise it that much, but
how would you go about doing that?
Well, I'm just thinking if I would have even tried to stop him from doing that.
I mean, it's a point worth working out, right? Yeah. Like, because I don't think he has a choice, as desperate as he feels the time is.
Yes, agreed. But there could be a way he goes about it more carefully, I would just, I guess if we rewind a little bit, when he says, are you okay with me telling it to the other apprentices? I would, say, Verilag, as cunning as she is, she, has ways of getting into the hearts of people. The more information, we share about her, to apprentices or anybody else is just a risk, and I have to assume we're willing to take that.
Right.
That the details about the plan could be leaked out before it happens. So just want to make sure he considers that. I think
Right.
a word of caution, but it seems like it is necessary to tell them. Yeah.
So yeah, I think at your first meeting with him, he agrees that he admits he has to tell them about Verilag.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good thought, Kevin. I haven't. Some good game mastering I just did. All behind the scenes, you'll never know.
Oh, I'll know. I'll ask you after the stream.
That's right. That's right. So let's roll for you sort of trying to read and stuff.
Hell yeah. 87. These are some good rolls.
Okay. So yeah, throughout the day, throughout this evening, on and off, you get 2 hours of reading wherever you want it. What do you want to do?
My tome for sure.
Okay. So it's still sort of on and off that you do it, but you definitely do get some. There's a knock at your door after supper. And it's Tegrov who, calls to the door, asking if you're in.
Yes. Well, why? I think maybe before I let him in, I'd ask, what are you seeking me for?
He's got to say something. He's got to say it in some sort of coded manner.
Mm-hmm.
The task that lies ahead for our master.
Okay.
There are, many things to consider.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'll let him in. It sounds like he's serious about talking about the plan. Yeah.
Now you're not going to really invite him in because societally, right, you can't have another male in your room.
Sure, yeah.
So,
I completely forgot about that, but you're right, yeah.
So it's hey, why don't we adjourn to a
parlor?
A parlor, one of the upstairs parlors. He says a very private one. You say understood. You guys go. Throw everybody out. If there's a servant in there. Tell them they're stand by the door and make sure that no one bothers you. He says, I'm curious on one point and I'm worried on another.
Okay.
And, he sort of huddled low to you, right? He sort of bent near you.
Yeah.
And he says, I want to know if your connection to Verilag is sort of two-way. Can you speak to her across distances? Are your thoughts passed to her? How is it that she finds you?
I mean, I'll just tell him what I know. It's that I seem to be, once I was able to, I think, what was the occasion? I had thought about her deeply and I wasn't able to reach out to her, but the next time she saw me, she knew that I was.
Right. You were trying to get her. I think actually it worked after a couple of hours. You sort of because I think we were on the roof of the sort of the retreat there in the vetch, because you needed her help with the
Yes, that's
portal.
right. Yeah.
And so it took some concentration for quite a while, and she could
Yeah.
feel your working her over, in your mind. And so
Yeah, so I would say that is it's possible with some effort. Though I don't know if that's, I guess that must be how she does find me, through that link, but I can't find her.
he is wondering about summoning Verilag to some remote location where he might observe her for the benefit of the plan. He would observe her, in a hidden manner.
Yeah.
And he asked what you think of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's doable. I guess the only risk would be, her sensing some hidden purpose in his presence, but I don't know. I mean, I would, just for the concern of his safety, I'm like, I think that is, well, he's also meeting me like one-on-one, so I feel like it's something he doesn't want the other apprentices to know. Let me get that out of him first. It's like, is this a plan of your own, concoction, or that's not the right word, of your own
That's
volition?
right. Concoction, that's right.
But of your own concoction. I don't know what I was trying to say, but anyway.
Roll.
99.
99?
Yes.
Roll again.
Okay. +5.
He says, it's my own idea. I haven't mentioned it to the others until we could have this conversation and know if it was even possible.
Okay.
But it is, but it's now something I can bring to their attention. But honestly, even if they reject it, I would think that the best plan would be to go forward with it, and with only one apprentice there. Even if the others agreed to the plan, I don't want more people there than just me. I want to take that risk.
Right.
And that is when you realize that he's betraying you. And roll, we'll see if this just sort of all falls into place for you.
16. No.
So he is going to summon Verilag, have you summon Verilag, and just spill the beans on everything. That is what your deep intuition that has served you so well.
Oh my God.
Definitely tells you this is for his gain, not for the plan.
So, oh my gosh. So what would even be the point? Is that wait a sec. So he has me summon Verilag so he can gain all this information and gain.
No. So he can approach Verilag and say, don't believe her. She is plotting against you with my former master.
Oh.
And then he wins the favor of Verilag, who would have a lot more to teach than Adabir.
Yeah. Wow. That makes sense. It does fall into place now that you say it. Yeah. Because I was like, I don't know why he would do that, but that makes sense. because he just, oh my God. This is why I didn't want to. Oh my God. So how do I process? How do I respond to it?
Well, let's first have you roll
So I can keep my emotions in check.
so you can keep your emotions in check.
46.
The spider scorpion. So you don't feel like you do a great job.
Okay.
Roll for me.
41.
He reads your face and says, "Look, if you think it's just too dangerous, then forget about it. I didn't mean to alarm you."
Okay.
But do think on it. The other issue that I wanted to raise, because it may have great bearing on what we find at the volcano,
Okay.
is for what reason did Krallen believe he was coming to the volcano, an environment he knows is hostile to his health?
Right. The original nature.
She could not have summoned him without him knowing where he's going. He had to come willingly until he was in those manacles.
That's a good point. I'll just say as a response, I mean, Verilag is crafty. I'm assuming there was some plan there that she had thought through for a long time. And I wonder if there's any other hidden meaning he's asking there.
I mean, it could be, he seems crafty enough that he's not burning bridges, right?
Right.
If the Verilag thing doesn't work out, he'll ride out the Atterbeer deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it could be, that if there's some purpose there within the volcano, right, that Krallen was meant to examine, or I mean, I don't know. I mean, let's take for example that the One Ring is on the volcano. Hey, come, Krallen, could you come and identify this item from me? It's trapped in rock, but it seems to be of tremendous power.
Mm-hmm.
And I would give it to you as a sacrifice. He comes, boom, trap. That's just an example, right?
Right.
Well, if that's the case in that example, then that means a powerful enough wizard could try to take this object, right? And so he would be looking at trying to gain advantage over that.
Yeah.
By the same token, it's also safe to know. It isn't a bad piece of knowledge to have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Is the original. It's definitely made me curious now about that too. So. Original MacGuffin.
It's the earliest MacGuffin in Karandrin.
5,000 years ago.
That's right.
So I mean, yeah, okay. So I mean, I just say I'm not sure, but that is a curious thing indeed.
I take it you've done no reading on it. You've not found in your researches any sort of story of how she was able to trap the beast.
Yeah, no, I haven't. Unfortunately, it was just so long ago. There's scan research on it.
That is so often the case.
Mhm.
Well, I will mention it to Adabir, and hopefully we can find some way of researching it without tipping our hands.
All right.
So he rises, kisses your hand. He says, "I know you must be tired. It's been a taxing day for reasons we didn't expect."
Yes.
And
Indeed.
off he goes.
Kevin, as a person who has trust issues, it's really not helping that all these people have all these hidden agendas.
You're like, I think I should try to teleport first and take Tegra with me. And you get to the lip of the volcano and you're like, you push.
Whoops.
Pushy push.
Oh my gosh, that is a little scary. Yeah. Wow. I wonder, is that something I even want to bring up with Adabir, that Tegrif might be? I mean, I have to, right? Because you should keep a close eye on him.
Yeah, I don't think you have a choice.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down to mention that. Tegrif's desire to betray us. Wow. All right. Stop talking about spider goose even nonsense. Why do I have to be the moderator for this?
The moderator for your game master who puts inappropriate things on the chat.
Well then, I guess we want to try to just do the evening, or maybe just call it here, or
yeah, I mean, yeah, we can, the rest of the evening.
Yeah.
No reading for you. You're like,
nope.
This is, I mean, Verilag was complex enough. Why did I have to introduce other people?
Yeah.
Who are assholes to this asshole of a problem? So no Kralum, no further reading, so you go to sleep. And you sort of have a dream that is very memorable. And it is Kralum pulling on you in one direction with his enormous claws. It's Adabir pulling on your other arm. And then Tegrav and Verilag have each of your legs, and they're pulling you. And you're just calling for them to stop and so forth. But there is continually the image of an eagle, and you're like, yeah, that's still an avenue. That's still, what I mean? And so, like, even your dream self knows, like, recognizes, oh, that's clearly what that is. That's clearly, don't count everybody out yet because there is another avenue we could go.
Right.
So you wake at first light.
Okay.
And that's where we'll start next week.
Woo! Spider goo, somewhat better than spider poo. Tastier, not a stick. Doesn't make you quite. Why am I reading this?
I was wondering why you were just
I'm tired, Kevin.
Quinn as a lyricist is something to be feared. Let me tell
Yes.
you, my long association with him tells me has taught me that something to be feared.
Speaking of lyrics, we can't have a 40th episode of our stream without some scat, can we?
You love me. All right, there you go. Happy 40th stream, buddy. Thank you for sticking with me for 40. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I think it's definitely one of our more interesting streams and episodes and whatnot. So, as always, hey, what can I do with that? Can I do anything like that? No, I can't. Check out the other great work that we've got going on in the universe. As an example, Max has his own YouTube channel where he discusses the role of music in original soundtracks and video games. Check out Elliot Dunovitz's website where she shows her various art, and thanks to her for her character art for Brise that we use every episode, and you can see her her samples of her work there at artstation.com, Tortolua. And I wrote a novel that I'm pretty proud of, and you can find it on Amazon, both in ebook and print. Go take a look at that. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed creating it. And I certainly hope that you enjoy Karandrin as much as I enjoy running it. Max, what do you want to say to these lovely people?
Well, I want to say thanks for sticking around for 40 episodes if you're watching. And I hope you enjoyed all the me struggling with all these important decisions, all you sadists out there.
That's right.
Yeah, thanks again for watching, and hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. So next week, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll be on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central. And just come and see what shakes out of this mess that has gotten messier. We have a lot of big questions hanging over Brise. I think things are going to get more interesting as we go on. And here's to us doing another 40. But thank you guys for hanging in there with us. We really appreciate you. We'll see you next week.